is quite timely as we jump across the pond to the UK, to Frances Lee Rogers, a coach and associate of Thinking It Better, a company founded by a male ally of mine from Rolls-Royce. Fran is a very accomplished HR professional who has worked for several major companies, including Goodrich, as well as various other sectors. So really bringing that fresh perspective into aerospace. And it's that diverse range of experience and her warrior spirit that positions her well as a resilience expert. Welcome, Fran.
Wow, thank you, Fiona. What an introduction. I hope I can live up to all of those great things you said. Welcome, everyone. I'm really pleased to be here with you all. There's a well-established and accepted proposition in the pilot community, which is aviate, navigate, and communicate. I'm sure some of you are aware of that. In other words, the first priority is to fly the plane, then work out where you're headed, and then communicate. The plane has to have enough fuel to get to its destination, all the parts need to be in good working order, and that pilot needs to be well rested. The plane needs to be able to adapt to change, to be resilient. If you think about yourself as a plane for a moment, go with me with this one. I wonder, how is your personal plane flying at the moment? Many things can destabilise our own flight path and create turbulence. The pandemic is an obvious one. But I'd suggest we have all experienced many unforeseen times, unpredictable circumstances in our lives which have caused that turbulence. I want you to think for a moment, just back and reflect on your life. How many of you have had things happen that you couldn't have predicted that really tested you and really created that turbulence? I know I have. It just reminds us, doesn't it, I think, that life is never really stable. And ladies, unfortunately, as we've heard today, evidence shows that there are many more headwinds that we face when compared to our male counterparts as we aviate through the skies of work. As we know, we make up roughly 50% of the population, but we've heard all the stats today that we just still so lowly represented in those senior areas and those senior roles. But there are positives. Evidence shows that when given the opportunity through understanding, skill and support, women grow their resilience. So like a pilot doesn't fly the plane on their own, do they? They have a co-pilot, they have the cabin crew that look after all of the passengers and a load of support on the ground to get that plane to its destination. So if our destination is our brilliant selves, we are going to need to first aviate, that is, become resilient, to fly our own plane well through all of that turbulence and ensure our plane is in good working order to get there. There is a huge amount of research on how you can aviate your own plane, resilience. I'm going to talk to you about a personal flight through my turbulent times and share with you 2 tools that I use to fly my plane, which have served me well over the last 12 years. In 2008, at the age of 27, I received the devastating news that my mother had passed away through tragic circumstances. She had taken her own life. It was a challenging time for me, my brother and my sister, and in those early days, weeks and months, it took all of my energy and focus to just do the basics. Eat, sleep, exercise. I accepted all of the support that I was offered and I slowly recovered. When I look back on that time now, I believe I didn't just recover back to where I was before that took place, before those tragic circumstances. I believe that I've become stronger because of it. I didn't just return back to the HR career, the quite ordinary HR career I had, working as an administrator. I went on to strive, to do better, to learn, grow and develop myself. I worked my way up through the HR corporate ladder, working with lots of different corporations throughout my time to a senior level. I've helped many leaders and managers navigate through really tricky and turbulent times and help their staff to do so too. More recently, I've gone on to change career and become a coach, which I absolutely love, start my own business, and I work with the great people at Thinking It Better, where we help individuals, teams and organisations be their brilliant selves, one thought at a time. So how have I done this? Well, firstly, when I face turbulent times now, I remind myself and I think back to those tragic circumstances 12 years ago and remind myself just how far I have come. That gives me strength to face whatever is in front of me. I kind of think if I manage to get through that, more than get through that, be stronger because of it, then I can achieve anything. I also actively practice and implement the 4 tools that we talk to our clients at Thinking It Better. And I'm going to talk about 2 of those tools today. Now, these are simple tools. It's not rocket science. These are all things that we can do to aviate our plane. So the first tool, well, given we're at an aerospace summit, I want you to all think for a moment that you are a passenger on a flight. I know that's a bit challenging with all the restrictions we have because of the pandemic at the moment, but just go with me. I want you to think that you're on that flight and you're waiting for the safety instructions from the assistant. They've come into that gangway down the middle. What do they tell you to do when the oxygen mask falls from the ceiling? They tell you to put your own oxygen mask on first, don't they? So it's about looking after yourself before you help others. Now, I don't mean looking after yourself in terms of your well-being here. We all know it's important to have enough sleep, eat the right balanced diet and get exercise, don't we? I mean here, considering how we manage our energy throughout the working day. So I want you all to take a bit of an honesty pill now when I ask this question. How many times in the last couple of weeks have you spent your lunch break scrolling through social media whilst you're eating or checking your phone? Yeah, me too. I'm not perfect. It's really tricky, isn't it, when you're just so busy to prioritise your energy levels and taking a break. But we must do that to aviate. It's also interesting that the average UK lunch break is around 22 minutes. It's not clear what it is in the US. Perhaps some of my fellow panellists might know that. And in France, they have a 1 hour minimum for all employees written into employment legislation. So it's just interesting how different countries approach lunch times, isn't it? In terms of managing my own energy, I'm a bit of a morning person. So when I've got something tricky to do or a difficult conversation to have, I schedule that in first thing. I have a dip around lunchtime, so if I have the opportunity to, I go for a short walk with my dog. Now, I have another dip for around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, as lots of us do, where it's really, really, really easy, isn't it, to grab that another cup of coffee and carry on running to the next meeting, or grabbing that chocolate bar. But I don't do that, or I try not to do that. What I do is I listen to some uplifting music and have a bit of a dance around to myself, just for a few minutes to energise myself again. At the moment, I'm listening to MC Hammer, Can't Touch This. I can't quite believe that I've shared that with you all, but I have. But it just helps me remind myself not to take life too seriously. Sometimes it isn't dancing around in the afternoon. Sometimes I ring a friend because I'm quite an extrovert and that really energises me. And I suggest that perhaps with the changing nature of work at the moment, with perhaps majority of us still working from home, maybe some of the time or part of the time, or maybe, you know, quite a lot of the time, then maybe we have a little bit more control to think about when we can have those energy breaks that suit us best. Actually, let's do that now, shall we? So Fiona, I'm wondering if you can help me a little bit and be a bit of help in getting everybody active. So I understand that you can't be seen by anybody else in this conference, so you can follow my actions, please. Stand up if you wish. I would really love you to get involved. And all I want you to do is follow what I do. And we're going to energise ourselves a little bit. So, panellists 2, ready? Let's go. Arms up, touch the floor. Arms up again. Put your arms to the side. Arms up, touch your head. And the floor again. And your head. And arms back down again. Brilliant, thank you. All I can see is some of my fellow panellists, so that's brilliant. Thank you for getting involved in that. Take a seat if you'd like. Like Jim Quick says, when your body moves, your brain grooves. And what he means by that is, when your body moves, it releases feel-good chemicals, which counteract cortisol, the stress chemical, which makes us feel good. The science tells us that it's good for us. Now, you don't have to be silly and jump around to music or go out for a walk or ring a friend if that doesn't serve you. Do whatever works for you. Do it consistently. Another great example to think about here is a Formula One race. Now, you don't see in a Formula One race those pit stops taking place at the end of the race, do you? You see them be strategically placed at different points whilst that race is taking place for optimum performance. So I wonder, what might your pit stops look like and when might they be tomorrow? The second tool that I'm excited to share with you is, again, really simple, and you would have heard of it, I'm sure. It's gratitude, being grateful. Studies show that when we express gratitude and we receive it in return, our brains release dopamine and serotonin, which makes us feel good. So why wouldn't we want to do more of that? By consciously practicing gratitude every day, we can help create a permanent state of gratefulness and positive nature within ourselves. So rather than focusing on the stresses and strains of everyday life, letting that cortisol and adrenaline pump around our system, making us feel permanently on edge and feel like we're in danger, let's flood our system with those feel-good chemicals, which makes us feel good, makes us more productive, and be able to perform at our best. One way we can practice gratitude is by simply writing down 3 things each day that you're grateful for. Now, I know it sounds really simple, but it works. So these are not general things like every day you think, oh, I'm grateful for my home, my family, my friends, my children. Be specific about that day. So you might have woken up and there might be a beautiful sunshine. Well, you might be grateful for that. You might be grateful that you've actually managed to get the kids out of the front door on time the first time in a few weeks. Or you might just be grateful that you've managed to have a healthy breakfast. Whatever it is, make it specific and make it count. So I'm interested, I want you all to get a bit involved now. What are you grateful for today? Can you share what you're grateful for in the chat box perhaps? Have we got anybody going to share what they're grateful for today?
Oh, I'm seeing lots of things in there, Fran.
Good. What else? What have we got?
I want to know where the person is with sunshine, because I don't have sunshine where I am. Oh, somebody's grateful for this event.
Brilliant. I was going to say that's my one.
Miami.
Brilliant. Oh, that's
so
great.
Many things there.
You.
And I'm very grateful for you, Fran, for actually making time to do this. I know that it's later on in the day over in the UK, but as I've got to know you these last few months, I was like, we can't not have Fran come and join us, because this is what we need. Because if we're able to spend less time doing what I call stinking thinking, then that's more time to get out there and be brilliant. So I really, really appreciate us doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, stinking thinking. Love that phrase. So yeah, we should all call each other out when
Brilliant.
we're doing stinking thinking.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank
me
you,
and Fran,
Fiona,
we're
for helping
both
with that chat.
yeah. Me and Fran, we're both coaches with the International Coaching Federation, so we've got some similar language. Anyway,
Yeah.
Fran, I'm
Yes.
just a little bit conscious that we're running behind, and
Yeah.
so I'm going to ask you one question, and then
Okay. Yeah.
we're going to get flexible, and I'm going to ask you if you would be okay staying behind during the break. So if anybody wants to ask you more questions, you can have a chat with them during the break, and we'll keep you
Sure.
on volume and everything. That
Yeah,
sound good?
no worries. That sounds brilliant.
Okay. So we're flexing. All right. So as today's conference is all about resilience, I want to know what you think humans can be doing more of to collaborate on resilience.
What a brilliant question. I think today's all about collaboration. I think women are great at that, aren't they? But more broadly, human beings. I think it's about fundamentally asking for help and offering that to each other through conversations that we have. I think it's just such a simple thing, but it's something that's all available to us. It doesn't take a lot of time to offer your support to somebody. And it doesn't take a lot of energy either. And actually, studies also show that where you help others, those feel-good chemicals get released into your bloodstream as well. So actually, it's good for us. So why wouldn't we do that? So for me, it's about asking for and receiving help in response. So whether that's at a summit like this, or going through to LinkedIn and searching for those people. It's definitely something I did when I was looking at changing career. Who are those people I want to speak to? Be brave as well, like you were saying. Go out and ask for help. It's nothing to be ashamed of.